if it was my last day, most definitely, that would be the most, I guess that would be the thing that would bother me the most, and not believing in myself, because I think that has a lot to do with my fear, is not fully believing in myself. Like, I can go out and talk about just being fit all day and tell people that it's my heart, it's my soul, but if I can't step out and really commit to it, then do I really believe in myself?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get around those obstacles and make room to create opportunities. You are listening to the Around the Way podcast. And now, your hosts, Kyle King and Kiana Williams.
Welcome to another episode of Around the Way podcast, where we help you get around your obstacles to find a way to redesign your life. We have somebody today that is literally Miss Fitness. Miss Fitness. How are you doing today, Bre?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am amazing. Could you just introduce yourself and then just talk about how dope you really are?
And that's actually hard to do, just talking about yourself, but I guess I can. Well, my name is Bre. I am originally from Raleigh, North Carolina. Currently residing in the Charlotte area as a sweat influencer. I know a lot of times personal trainer, you hear that word, but I've kind of gotten into a phase where I've enjoyed calling myself a sweat influencer. Doesn't sound as intimidating. It sounds fun. So I've been rolling with that. I've been in the fitness industry, oh my gosh, well over 10 years. I know sometimes people don't think I am as old as I am, but yes, I have been in the industry for over 10 years. My background, previous athlete, played basketball, ran track in middle high school, did some intramural basketball in college at UNC Greensboro. I'm a Spartan, so shout out to the Spartans. I've always been heavy into sports and movement. My passion lies there. Being the only girl of three, two older brothers, I was always out in the fields with the guys. So super active. I enjoy moving and being involved in sports and exercise. I'm a dog mom. I love fur babies. I have 2 fur babies, Puma and Max. And if you follow me, of course, you probably see them. And I'm a traveler. I love food. If you guys want to talk about food, that's my thing. Yes, I work out, but I love to eat. Okay. And then, I'm a Leo. I don't know if you're into zodiac signs, but we are loving. We are cool friends, and we are dope. So that's pretty much who I am in a nutshell. I love to have fun. Very laid back. But when I'm in front of that camera creating content, I love to motivate people to move. I love to connect people, connect with people through movement, and let people and allow people to understand that exercise does not have to be in the gym space. As we know, we've currently are dealing with a pandemic, and we've had to shift our mindset, shift where we move in different spaces. So I've actually built a new relationship with movement, with working out from home, and getting everybody excited about still moving, even though we're actually going through trying times. Exactly. Exercising should still be a priority in your life. Whether you do it at home or in the gym, we should still be moving, even though we are dealing in, certain circumstances that we weren't prepared for. So I've learned to shift my brain and shift my mindset and, focusing on, making people move from where they are. So that's what I enjoy doing.
You could tell that she creates content.
Nah, literally. It's clean. It's clean.
When you said, tell me how dope you are, people, she started like, that's, how dope I am. That's hard to say.
But nah, you killed it. Boom. You killed it. So I think it's so important because I love what you said about sweat influencer, because I think the term, like, I'm a personal trainer is kind of like saturated in the market. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of mental work before you can actually get to the physical work, right?
Right.
So could you talk about not your client's mental work or the process of getting somebody to that point, but what are some of the things that you've had to do from a mentality perspective that has helped you get to the point where you're at today?
So I will say even now to this day, I've had to shift my mental script. And I use that a lot in talking about how I respond to my feelings and things that I tell myself, not doubting myself, making sure that any conversation that I have with myself is positive, that it's uplifting, that I keep people in my circle that are not only motivating, but hold me accountable in the things that I say to myself and how I respond to different situations or circumstances I'm faced with. So I say a lot of me staying consistent. A lot of people talk about, man, you're so consistent. Like there's nothing that you're not doing on a Monday or a Friday. Like you're always moving, you're always dishing content. And it's like, no, because one, it's a passion of mine, but people hold me accountable. There's someone that's telling me, man, I'm motivated by your content, or man, I'm motivated by seeing you move, seeing you post something or seeing you do something has motivated me to get up. So when I hear those things and when I read those responses back, whether it's through social media or text, it's like, no, Bre, like you got to tighten up. Like, yes, I have my bad days. We all have them, but I've learned to like change my focus, shift my focus, and focus on telling myself that I can do this, I can be great at this, and understanding that, with a positive mindset, I can do anything. So I definitely will say that my mental script has a lot to do with why I do what I do and why I continue to do it.
I love that mental script. I'm gonna write that actually down.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
You talk about movement a lot as well, like, kind of like moving. But I'm sure you're always on the go. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But what are you moving towards? Like, because I believe that it's hard to meet something that you haven't measured.
Right.
And I think so many times as influencers, as entrepreneurs, it's kind of like we're always doing something. But I also believe that activity doesn't equal achievement. But a lot of this activity doesn't get us to our purpose.
Right.
So how are you being intentional about moving towards your end goal?
Good question. So, right now I am, of course, a trainer. I train, I meet with people in person, but I don't see my brand as just connecting with people in person, building programs for clients. I see it becoming a brand where like I don't have to be present for it to run itself. And I've been doing a lot of studying, a lot of reading about, different systems to build, where you can, with Melanin Money, make
exactly.
sleeping bag, shout out to George. But, figuring out systems where I don't necessarily have to be present in order to make sure my mission, my message gets out to the community. So right now I'm trying to get in a space where, well, honestly, I would love to have Just Being Fit be a platform where I can connect and collaborate with bigger brands, that puts me in different spaces where I'm not just delivering workout content, but I'm promoting and pushing another brand that is relevant to what I do. I do want you to walk by that store and see me on that poster. Like that's how big that's the thinking that I have right now. I'm thinking outside of the box out of what I do on a regular basis. And I'm like, no, I want to do more. I want to be more. I want to serve in different spaces where people may think is impossible. And those are things that I want to do. I don't want to just be known as a trainer in Charlotte, but I want Just Being Fit to be a platform where people know that not only does she train, but she motivates, inspires in different spaces and capacities within the industry. So that's my dream. So if you guys listen to this podcast,
definitely. So I was reading your shirt and it says Fitspiration.
Yes.
Right? I love that. And I guess my question for you, and this is, I want you to really dig on this one.
Okay.
Where do you motivate a lot of people? You inspire, you inspire a lot of people, right? But where do you get your motivation from? Like, why are you doing everything that you're doing?
I'm doing everything because I know that women that look like me, men that look like you, the Black community needs us. We don't see a lot of, and we are currently, but growing up, I didn't see a lot of people who were in the space that I am or in the positions that I am growing up, motivating people to be healthy. In my family, we've battled with a lot of cardiovascular diseases. I know my mom and my dad, they were athletes, but their parents weren't as active. So a lot of the upbringing that I was going through, whether it's, what we were eating, how often we were moving, I didn't see that. So growing up, I saw a lot of my relatives suffer, pass away from different diseases and health conditions because of their habits, and not seeing those habits be healthy habits be something that was a priority in my family and different households. I took it upon myself to make that a priority for my intermediate family and those who are connected to me. So I'm motivated by the people that are around me. I'm motivated by making sure that my tribe is healthy, especially with COVID-19 and having relatives that suffer from diabetes and things of that nature. I've been like really, really like on top of them, like, hey, not only are you wearing your mask, but are you making sure you're eating right? Are you drinking your water? Are you moving? So I'm just motivated by making sure that the people around me are taken care of. And in order for them to be taken care of, I got to make sure I'm doing what I'm doing what I'm supposed to do to be a leader in their on their journey. So
That's
yeah.
good. That's good.
Got to make sure your family's safe and healthy. So
why is that important to you though? Like, really? Because, you know, we do this, you know, and you excel in it, and we have the motivation. Yeah. But why is it important for you to actually reach that point?
It's important because not only do they matter to me, but it just warms my heart and it just makes me feel good. And it's just a certain feeling I get when I know that what I'm doing and the message that I'm delivering to someone resonates, and I see, you know, the journey and the outcome from the message that I deliver. And I think that is the reason why I do what I do, is because not only do I do it for a hand clap and a hoorah, hooray, and someone congratulating me for it or acknowledgement, but I do it because of the success stories. I do it because of the outcomes of those who do hear my message and take heed to it when they see some results from it or some type of impact. I was telling somebody the other day, I was being funny, but I was like, no, this is actually serious. I was talking to someone on Instagram and I made a response to say, my middle name is Impact. And I was like, wait, it really is. Like, and that's the thing. I'm always wanting to make sure anything that I deliver, anything that I do or I'm connected to is always an impact at the end of the day. And it's less of me and more of the person seeing the results and the outcome. So that's pretty much what I'm mostly motivated by and keeps me going.
That's good. Mm-hmm. What are you thinking? I know you got something.
I do have a question. Okay, so I know, or I have a belief that as we achieve, our ceiling rises. I love that you are very goal-oriented. Like you appear to be like a go-getter and like very positive and uplifted. Even still, I know that we have certain thoughts that scare us when we think about the height of those. Mm-hmm. So where is your ceiling currently located? What is the biggest dream that you have that like it scares you a little bit?
Oh my God. So crazy thing is I just had a conversation about this fear I have.
Really?
And so I don't mind speaking about it again because I think these conversations are going to help me take that leap and not be afraid and know that on the other end of that leap, I'm going to land on my feet and I'm going to be okay. Mm-hmm. I work a 9 to 5. And I will say that while we were going through the beginning stages of the pandemic, I was not working there. We had closed down. Mm-hmm. And during that time, I spent more time on just being fit. Like that whole year, I was grinding. I was going after it, building content. With gyms closing down, new clients were coming out of any and everywhere. And they were introduced through Instagram from the things that I created. So I felt like during that time, that was my time to prove to myself that this is something that I could really do full time. So I went and hit the ground running. I was training, doing my own marketing, making sure I stayed on top of my content. And I think the scary part about me taking the leap and just going after it is just the security, like getting comfortable in your 9 to 5. I mean, we're not going to talk about benefits, but I'm just saying.
Literally.
I'm just saying. So I think I've been so comfortable in having that 9 to 5, and feeling like if I left it, I will feel naked. Like I will feel too left out in the world by myself, just like a freshman in college. When you leave home, you're ready to leave home, but as soon as your feet hit that college campus, you're like, oh my God, I don't know who, I don't know nobody, I don't have no friends, my friends are not here, my mom's not here to pick up after me, I have to, do things on my own. And that's the thing, I have to make sure I'm getting up on my own. Like I have to grind. I can't lay in the bed because I'm off at my 9 to 5 today. I have to get up and I have to make things happen. So just not being afraid to take that leap. So that's where my ceiling is, if that's where it is.
So I have a follow-up question to this because it's very interesting, and I've known you for years now, but it's very interesting because I always thought you were a full-time entrepreneur. I never knew this. So
I need to keep a tally mark of people that I shock.
That's so wild. So I guess my question, because I have a belief that when you're getting ready to rob a bank, it's like, I wouldn't take you two with me, right? You have to, you need a driver, you need, a tech person, you need just certain key, critical components before you actually go in there and rob that bank.
Right.
But when you're getting ready to rob the bank of your dreams, you need key components. And, as an ex-athlete, who's going to be on the court that's going to help us get the championship.
Right.
So I guess my question for you is, before you take that leap, I'm sure you're doing some reflection and some assessment. Do you have all of the pieces to the puzzle that you need to be able to jump? And if not, what do you actually believe that you need?
That's a really good question. Do I believe that I have all the parts? I honestly feel like I do. I just have to tap into my beliefs and trusting in God for one, and understanding that I'm covered and I'm good. I think I do. Like I've mapped out, even in this last year, everything that I've needed, and that's been with the support of different workshops and different conversations that I've had with people that are currently entrepreneurs, and doing my research and doing my studying of, what an entrepreneur would look like in the health and wellness industry. I think I've hit all those points. I just have to do it. Like I'm doing double dutch. I'm like this.
I know.
I'm like, oh my gosh. And it usually takes a moment where something is going on at work. We've all been there. Like you've had that crazy day at work and you're like, I'm ready to get out. Like this is it. So I've had a couple of those moments, but I need to, really, really focus on, no matter if I have a good or bad day, if this is really what I want to do, whether they get on my nerves or not, I need to step out and do it. And so that's why this conversation is so crazy. Like, oh my God, like I'm like over here like, oh, this is crazy. Who's in here? Like, God, I know you're making your way around. But yeah, like this is crazy, but it's necessary for me though.
So let me ask you this. By you being an athletic person, I'm sure that you are competitive.
Oh God, yeah. Uno, I mean, we don't even have to be on the field. We can play cards.
Literally everything.
I see it. So my question is, what is one thing that you're working to prove to yourself? Because I know competitive people are always trying to prove something, not even to everybody else, but to them.
I will say physically, what I'm proving to myself is that I haven't lost my athleticism. Right now, I'm currently training with a trainer friend, Strength by Staff, and we've been doing monthly, I would say, athletic workouts. So working on my sports and performance type workouts. And you know how you start to get older. I'm not that old, but as you start to get older and you start to step out of certain comfort zones, like growing up being an athlete, going to basketball practice, playing games every day, I felt like after I left school, I just started working out in the gym, and I kind of lost touch with that athletic side of me. So I want to prove to myself that I can still get out there and do it. Just like you hear about older men and women who try to get out there on the court with the kids. Like, oh, you think I lost it? I don't want to lose it. I don't want anyone to second guess that I have lost my skill set. So I've been really trying to push myself to really pick that back up. And so physically, I want to prove to myself that I can stay in the game. And at any point in my life, I can get in there and get it done. So that's where I am right now.
I got two questions, because I have something in regards to belief system.
Yeah.
And then something in regards to what you just said as well. So I'm going to go with the most current one. So when you talk about you kind of want to always be able to get in the game and, kind of compete at a high level.
Yeah.
My question for you, and even as an ex-athlete, I recognize now that I can't get in the game and compete at that same high level.
Right.
The first time I tried to play ball with friends of mine, and then even younger friends of mine, it wasn't the same Kyle.
Right.
It did something to my mind, though.
Yes.
And that was like, it broke me. And it didn't hit me at first. It kind of hit me a few weeks later and a few months later. And for a period of time, for years, I put down a basketball and I would not go back to the court.
Yeah.
And this is somebody that played on a Division I level.
Right.
So it's kind of like, why do you feel this way? So I guess my question is, when you recognize that your time is up, how will you take that, and what are you doing to prepare for that?
Oh, wow. I don't even know how I'm going to take that. Because, like even like you said, like after you recognize that you were not performing like you used to, it hit hard. And I felt like, even in my first workout with him, when we did some bound movements and things of that nature, like I left like, God, I like suck. Like, girl, like like I really was down on myself because I felt like when I got in there, I can do this. This is nothing. I did this before. He gave me a certain movement that I have done in the past, and I couldn't perform it at, the best that I thought I could. And I was down on myself. But I just feel like I would feel the same way. I feel like I'm going to be like, man, like I thought I could last forever. And I feel like that moment where I can't do it, I'm going to feel down. I mean, I feel like as a competitor, you do kind of give yourself a hard time, and you hear it all the time. Don't give yourself a hard time, but it's hard. It's hard to tell somebody to don't beat yourself up about it.
Yeah.
Like that's hard. Like I even find myself telling clients and other people that, and I'm like, I don't even know why I said that because that's going to make them focus on it even more, you know? So I think I'm going to take that hard, but I also feel like although I may not physically or mentally be able to do that, I can be a leader and example for someone else. Not to say that I'm going to be the parent when I do have children that's going to force sports on them, because that happens. But just, from a standpoint of making sure that they have mental toughness, I can speak from my experience and instill that in the next person that's going in those same footsteps.
I have one more, and we're going to pass over the Bre Leach's question. I'm going to come back to that one later. So I believe that as entrepreneurs, legacy is important. You know, kind of like you talk a lot about motivating people and, inspiring and being that kind of that voice, but that image of what, representation looks like, but also what leadership looks like as well. If today was your last day, what would you have regretted the most that you didn't get to complete, and what's stopping you from completing it?
Not going full on with just being fit. That would probably be, if it was my last day, most definitely, that would be the most, I guess that would be the thing that would bother me the most, and not believing in myself, because I think that has a lot to do with my fear, is not fully believing in myself. Like I can go out and talk about just being fit all day and tell people that it's my heart, it's my soul, but if I can't step out and really commit to it, then do I really believe in myself? Exactly. And so that's honestly how I feel. If for some reason something does happen where I'm not able to live out my dreams, that would be one thing that would I would be like, wow, I really messed that up.
Can I get one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because the energy in here, I'm feeling it.
Go ahead.
So when was the first time when you were told you weren't enough? Or you were told that, because I sense a lot of fear on the other side, which is interesting as well.
Yeah.
There was an experience that you experienced that created this fear. When was that? What happened? And how did it make you feel?
I will say, related back to, I would say about high school maybe. Yeah, basketball. The fear or the experience that I had with being on the basketball team. And there were some women or ladies that were at performing higher than I was. And always being put down as the defender, because on a basketball team you have your different positions, and so I was your defender on the team. I could shoot, but because I didn't perform as well as those other ladies, I was never given the opportunity to shoot the ball. I was always put on the defense end. So that made me feel like I was only useful for one thing, so I never focused on it anymore. So I never practiced my jump shot. I never really focused on it. I focused on being the defender of the team. So, and in that, it made me second guess myself. Like, I'm only good for one thing. And a prime example to now is my career. I'm great at what I do. Yeah. I do a lot of things in my career. They praise me for the things I do, but it makes me feel like they still put me in a box and make me feel like, I'm only useful for this thing. And I feel like sometimes when I am in that career, I do kind of shy away from just being fit because it's not recognized and it's not praised. And and I will say a lot of companies do promote you being able to do other things outside of what you do on your day job. But I feel like I get so caught up in doing what I do with my 9 to 5, And if for some reason someone brings up a conversation about just being fit at the 9 to 5, I kind of say like, don't talk about that. Like, so it makes me feel like it's not worthy, or it's not something that should still be a priority to me, because they don't acknowledge the great things that I do with it. So I feel like that's where the fear comes from too, is because they don't really necessarily believe in it, I've kind of shunned away from believing in stepping out, because I feel like I'm not good enough, because I don't have that encouragement from them, if that makes any sense.
No, it does.
You know how you're on a job and you have a side hustle, and you have certain people that work with you that say just being fit is dope, but you have that person that leads you on the job that may not necessarily be backing it, or telling you that you're only great at this one thing. So you believe that you're only great at that one thing. So you stay in that one thing and think that the thing that you're doing currently on that job is going to elevate you to do other things, when necessarily it's not for you and it's not going to happen. So you stay there. You stay comfortable in that space.
Let me ask you something. So this is kind of gonna veer off just a little bit, but it's related to what you're saying. I believe a lot of times when it's time for us to move to the next level, that what the place that was comfortable starts to become a little uncomfortable. Like certain things start to happen that, in my opinion, are God telling you like it's time to start moving towards this other thing that you wouldn't do unless I pushed you out of the comfortable part. Are there any things that are happening right now that don't make sense in the space that you're in, because it's like everything was fine and I'm like, I've been comfortable here, but like, why all of a sudden now is this happening?
Yeah, this is so crazy. So on top of what you were saying, I was gonna say with being uncomfortable, I'm noticing now that even in certain conversations, like there'll be something that I'll have to do, or a task be given to me, and the conversation will end on a note of, I want to be able, whatever you do with this or however you create it, I want it to be something that can be shared with someone else just in case you go. That's been the conversations lately. And I haven't been bringing it up. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like, why are y'all saying that?
We're okay. Just in it. And it's like, it's that moment. Like, where is this coming from? I'm not bringing up anything about leaving. But in the current conversations, it's been, just in case, or I want to make sure if, I give this task or delegate this to you, that you can show me how you got it done, or, just to make sure that if I do ever leave, all of those ideas, all of that stuff doesn't come with me and they don't have anybody else to fill the gap or fill the void. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Whoa. Oh, yeah.
I got something for you. You talk about filling the gap, filling the void. And I hear a lot of self-limiting beliefs. The gap that I hear is fear. But what really is the void?
That's a good question. I honestly haven't thought about that. I don't know what that void is, what it looks like. In regards to a void where I would be jumping out and taking that leap of faith, right?
I'll set it up a little bit better.
Yeah.
So you talked earlier that you have the people in your immediate circle that would praise just being fit.
Yeah.
And then you have, kind of people around you that bring it up. But the leader at the job, or whatever the case may be, doesn't support it. I guess there's been times in your life where you haven't felt supported when you've brought ideas.
Yeah. Okay.
When was that? Walk me through those moments.
I will say that when I lived, I'm going to give backstory and then jump back to it. But backstory on that is, when I lived in Winston, when I graduated from UNCG, I ended up moving to Winston and working. Just Being Fit was still relevant then, but not as booming as it is now. Selling apparel, all that stuff. That current job, they were pushing it. They were buying stuff. They were telling people about my side hustle, things of that nature. So I guess when I got into this position, it felt the total opposite, and I felt like I wasn't getting that support, and I wasn't getting that acknowledgement for me, at least having a life outside of work, and having something that I loved and enjoyed outside of work. So I think that I shouldn't care. That's the crazy thing. I shouldn't care what they think, right? But I guess because I'm such a personable person and I get so invested in where I am and the work that I do that I want them to high five and root on for me. But I feel like because I'm not getting that support, it does kind of bring me down a little bit. But you know, since I spent the year of being at home and working on Just Being Fit, I have cared less. I will say when I first got into the position, I did care. And the crazy thing about it is, when I first got in the role, people were doing their research on me and found out about Just Being Fit through social media. I was always one to say, I will not bring up anything that I do outside of work, just like they tell you, don't come in here with a bad attitude. As soon as you hit the door, you come in, you show up, and you do your work. But I never brought Just Being Fit to the table. It was a thing of people hearing about Just Being Fit and bringing it back to work and making it a big deal because it's both worlds are in fitness. I have my fitness thing. I work in fitness full time. So it became an issue. So I always said that anytime I step in this door, I don't talk about JBF. I talk about the work that I have to do in this world. Okay. So the issue that came with me I feel like the issue that created me not getting the support I needed was people, my colleagues and people that worked in the same space were having conversations about the things that I was doing outside of this fitness world. And it became an issue coming into work because it was like, hey, I saw you were creating videos and can you do this for us? So it became a thing of, we see that what you're capable of, but we want you to put that energy over here.
Exactly.
And so I felt like in that space I was being used. I wasn't hired to do this work. You didn't hire me to do this. Yeah. But because you're noticing that I'm being great on my own and creating these amazing opportunities for people on my own terms, you want to pull that energy away from me and make me feel bad for doing it and give that energy to you. And so I was very like, I rejected a lot of that energy. I was like, no. Yeah. But you can sign this invoice. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I felt like that, I guess that would be considered the void, is just not having that support from certain people in that space.
Is it still?
We're good.
Okay. I have a question.
We're going to go on a commercial really quickly.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We are back from our commercial break, back with Bre Leach, and I have a question to kind of bring us back in. So me and Kyle, we were actually talking about this earlier today, that a lot of times, well, two parts. Okay, first, I find that people often support in the way that they know how, but not necessarily in the way that we need them to. And then secondly, sometimes when we're doing really great things and we're supported by certain people, it's still not enough because we're wanting support from someone else that's not seeing us. Do you feel like that's the case? And because it sounds like you get support, you get praise, you get acknowledged, but like, do you get what I'm asking?
Yes.
It's like you're getting the support, but even still not getting it from certain places maybe that would mean more than where you're getting it from.
And the thing about it is why I feel the way or felt the way that I did about it was because I was giving so much energy to it. And it's like, y'all aren't even meeting me halfway. Like, I'm giving y'all energy. I'm like creating, I'm showing up, I'm performing. But it's like when I share stories about the success and the achievements of JBF, it's like, that's cool. But this has to get done, or, you know, whatever. So I feel like that's why I felt the way I did about it, was because I give so much energy and heart and passion because I love serving people. And that's the work. We serve the community. So despite how they feel about me, I'm always going to show up and give 1,000% in my job, because you can't say I don't perform, because I do. And so I think that's why I feel the way I do, is because it's not like I don't show up and perform. I show up. Even when I'm not there, I'm still performing because things are running by themselves because I set them up to do that. I still don't see that support in my own passions. In a lot of companies, they have conferences and workshops about building your own brand, being your own personal brand. But how do you believe in wanting people to build their own brand? Because once you set them up to do that and they get good at it and they start to blossom, they will eventually depart. And so with you creating these moments where you want them to build their own brand, you have to allow them to do that and not try to stifle them when they do figure out who they are and figure out their identity in this world, because you set them up to do that. So don't be upset when they do depart, you know? So
do you have anything before?
Nah, I have another question, but I'm gonna come back to the one that I want to ask right now, because I think praise is something that you acknowledge, and I guess my second question would be about praise, but I want to go forward to the praise question. So earlier you talked about kind of when you're on the court, you were boxed into a position. You were the defender, right? And you know, I've definitely been there, and I think about what you said from two different perspectives. If Tom Brady was a wide receiver, he wouldn't be Tom Brady. If LeBron was a center, he wouldn't be LeBron. So a lot of times our position is best fit in the position that maybe a coach or somebody pushed us into. Right. My question for you is, what position are you wanting to be in your life? And I guess, what position are you in right now?
I would love, we're going to speak in basketball terms, okay?
For sure.
Hopefully I can keep up.
I apologize. Okay, so I would love to be the coach. Like, not even on the field. I'm not even on the playing field or in the court. I want to be the coach. I want to be the one that creates the plays. I want to be the one that puts my people, my team in the game. I want to be the one who has the talk in the locker room to let them know how great they're doing. Like, I want to be, that's the leader for me, the coach. I want to be the coach right now. Basketball terms, right?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm a power forward. You know,
Okay.
I'm not the center. I'm not catching the ball. I'm not the point guard dishing the ball. I want to say the help. I was just about to say the help.
I mean, however,
but
though,
I mean,
the power forward isn't really like the
that's what I'm saying. That's
center of the show.
Right. So yeah, that's how I feel right now. If we want to be honest, and I'm in control of that.
What's making you feel that way, though?
What makes me feel that way? Me being in the position I am as far as career wise. Okay. And like I said, I feel like, you know, I have to take accountability for that. And I feel like I've put myself in that position, because one, I'm choosing to stay. Like, let's be real. I'm choosing to stay because of being comfortable. And in order for me to get to that, you know, that next step, I have to make different moves. I have to take that leap.
What are those moves that you have to make? Because there are a lot of solid power forwards that are now coaches. Right. But there are some amazing centers that can't coach. Right. So I guess my question for you is, what steps do you intentionally have to take from you to get off of the court, being the power forward, to actually running the team and being able to run the plays?
I will say, from an entrepreneurial side, I have to make sure that my systems are set up. First of all, that my mind is clear. I have to walk in a sound mind, making sure that the decisions that I make are, the right decisions for me and my family. I can't be selfish and just leaving and thinking that I don't have anyone to support. So just making sure I'm making sound decisions, making sure I have the right system set up, making sure that I'm putting pen to paper and actually writing these things down and not keeping everything stored in my mind and having these big dreams and visions and not doing the work and applying the work and tools that I've been taught and that I've studied, and making sure that everything makes sense. I think a lot of times, or I will say, being that I am, and you're an entrepreneur, so you let me know. I'm on the other side. I'm still in 9 to 5. But I feel like sometimes when you get too caught up in social media, a lot of your entrepreneurs that's in that world, they give you that surface level, like, quit your job, sign up for my program.
Do not quit your job.
Like, and it's like, and I don't believe that at all. Like, I feel like sometimes, when someone gets to where they do take that leap and they do go full, become an entrepreneur full time, they sell this dream all of a sudden, like they've got it all together. And I'm like, you just left 2 weeks ago. Like, how all of a sudden has your brand become something that where you're trying to sell someone a dream to quit their 9 to 5, and now you want them to buy into a program with what coin? Because they have to, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's just honestly what I feel like. I have to make sure that I make sound decisions, that I set myself up for success, that I build my tribe. I feel like as an entrepreneur, you have to have your tribe, and it doesn't have to be from a financial standpoint, but being the trainer I am, I want to make sure I have a tribe of people that I can connect with, that hold me accountable, that I can talk to, and yeah, just make sure I have all my ducks in a row.
I think a lot of times we always focused on, what do we need? From a resources perspective, from a time perspective, but we really never take the time to think about who we need.
Yeah.
So I guess my question for you, because you talk about this tribe, you talk about support, who do you need in your life right now, and what voids need to be filled by people?
I would say family. I have a small circle of friends, so I would say friends, and pretty much I would say the void. I wouldn't necessarily, because I'm that independent girl. Like, I want to do it all, get it all done myself. But I'm learning that help is okay. Like, asking for help is necessary. And I would say the void that I would want them to feel would just be just like a sounding board, someone that I can call on, someone that I can connect to. Give me the constructive criticism I need. Tell me the truth. Sometimes your friends or family may not actually buy what you're selling, but I need you to tell me what's up. Like, I'm going to see what I'm going to create and think it's the best thing in the world, and that everybody's going to buy into it. But if you're like, no, that's not, that's not a good idea, or you could do this differently, I feel like that would be the only thing that I would hope that they would be there for. But outside of them just giving me that support and holding me accountable, being honest, and just checking in with me, making sure that I'm still above water, not getting too far deep down into whatever I'm doing and not coming up for air to take care of me. Because that's another fear I have is stepping out and getting so caught up in the business side of it and forgetting to work out and forgetting to, because I can sit here and make all this content and tell people to work out, and then I can get caught up in the business side of just being fit, and people are like, I miss your videos, man. I haven't seen you work out in 5 days. Where you and so that's my fear too, is making sure that not only am I stepping out and doing what I love to do full time, but also not forgetting to still show up for people,
or still show up
and show up for myself. Right.
There it is. I think so many times, and that's the premise of this podcast. Yeah. Right. The premise is that there's a business beyond the business, the business of people. Because I think so many times, even Instagram, social media, we literally showcase, I'm flying private jets, I'm getting this money, I'm launching this event, I have this high ticket program, I'm doing this, I have this client testimonial, but I'm real deal having anxiety. Yes. Or I'm like depressed as fuck, or like all of these different things that I feel. So it's kind of like, okay, what are you actually going through besides you just showing your wins on social media? Right. So I guess I want to know, and this may take some vulnerability from you. Like you talk about a lot of wins, but where are you losing right now outside of the fear perspective? I
will say I am losing in slowing down. Sometimes I feel like I'm doing too much. And it weighs on me, on my mental. And I feel like a lot of those times when I do feel overwhelmed, I'm not honest about it. Like, I try to push through it, and it weighs me down. I get in moods where, like, I literally want to lay in a bed. I literally don't want to do anything. I don't want to make a video or anything like that. So being honest with myself about how I feel, learning to speak up. Like, generally when something's not going my way or something's not going right, I get quiet and I almost ghost. And not say I disappear, but I just shut down. And when I get in that phase, like, to me, it doesn't feel good. So when I feel like I'm not doing enough, I really am doing too much. And so when I get to a space where I feel overwhelmed, or I'm overworking myself, or I'm burning out, I start to lose focus. I don't create, and I feel like I need to find different avenues of how I can shift that energy versus just shutting down. Like, I have a hard time with doing that. So I will say that is something that creates L's for me, is me just not knowing how to balance my energy and focusing on doing what I can when I can do it, and not feeling like I have to get all of this done at one time, and spacing things out, like, and allowing myself to just slow down. Like, I don't slow down enough. And there has been moments where, like, I have literally almost gotten sick because I wasn't slowing down. Like, my head was hurting. My mood was shifting. Like, I was upset for no reason, but it was because I wasn't being honest with myself and slowing down. Like, Bre, you have to slow down. They didn't do anything to you. You're snapping for no reason. You're mad because you know you're tired.
Yeah.
And you're not being honest with yourself about being tired, and you're not sitting down. So you're working through this bad energy.
Yeah.
And so, I've had my moments where,
And I feel like a lot of times, like, oh, my bad. There's a lot of times where you're running towards something that we get to this point.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, what are you running from?
Being the competitor, running from L's. Like, I'm running from losses. Like, I'm afraid to lose. Like, I feel like that's what I'm running from. Like, I feel like, this is just me speaking, having a bad day on a 9-to-5 is different from having a bad day when you're an entrepreneur.
Oh, that's a fact.
That is true.
Jesus.
True.
I felt that in my spirit.
And look, I'm just outside looking in. And these are the thoughts that I have before I say I'm going to take that leap. Like, man, I wonder what a bad day is like as an entrepreneur. Yeah. Like, that's what I'm running from. Those thoughts, like, man, it gets cold in the wintertime. Clients don't really want to come outside, or, people aren't as motivated. You think about stuff like that. So I think I'm running from that when I actually need to be running towards it, and solving those problems, being a sweat influencer that creates solutions for people. So I think that's what it is.
So before Kyle comes back in, so I want to introduce you to our red box in the middle of the table. So
a red table box.
Love it.
So I would like for you to take the box. Inside there are questions, and I would like for you to blindly pick a question, read it, and answer it.
Oh, wow. Hot seat. Okay. So.
It's so funny how people close their eyes.
I know. And they're all folded up anyway.
Okay. What is this?
What is it?
When was the last time that someone else's expectations for you impacted your decision about something? Oh, okay. So when I was actually during the pandemic, back in March, I was starting up. Yeah, I had started doing home workouts. And I was just randomly making I don't want to say randomly, but yes, I was. I was bored. I was not working at the time, just making home workouts. And there was no thought or no purpose behind it. I was just like creating home workouts that were fun for me. And someone was like, do you have any like home workout programs? I wasn't creating anything. Like, I was like, I don't at the moment, but let me get back to you. And so the girl that messaged me, she was like, well, these are great home workouts. Like, I think you should create something. Like, I'm staying at home with my kids and I don't have anything to do. And I'm really looking for a program where I can do workouts at home. And I really love your page. And so I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to start creating programs for home workouts. So I ended up creating Homebody. And I had a homebody program before, but it was no thought behind it. I was making a product, and I'll admit that I've created some things where I was like, look, I know I can do this. I know this will make X, Y, and Z. I'm going to execute and do that thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It really wasn't no passion behind it. But I will say that not just her, but a lot of people within this last year have messaged me about things that either they saw that was great that I was doing, or they tried something that I created that worked for them or went well for them. And those messages have put a fire under my feet that can constantly create programs that are beneficial for people from whether it's working out at home, working in the gym. So I will say that a lot of the messages that I receive, and I'm sure from reviews from different businesses that you are doing or have come in contact with, they fuel us to create and provide product, because, you know, your customer is pretty much going to, I feel, have you know, some impact on the decisions you make. And I've learned, even through making different programs, at a point when I started making programs, I was doing them because I felt like they were good, not because they felt like they were useful or beneficial. So I started listening more to what people wanted versus what I thought was best for people. And that's what shifted my take on providing programs. Like, I'm not dishing out workout programs every month, every week, because I don't feel that's necessary. Right. You know, but yeah, I do listen to people who, and even my clients who share messages with me about different things that they need or they're looking for. And if I can provide that, that has an impact on the decision I make. So yeah.
What are you thinking?
That reminds me of the conversation we had earlier. I'm not going to say what it was because I don't know in the grand scheme of things when it's coming out for this one. But just about sometimes the pressure that's created when you have people that have opinions. And like they have needs, and they're like, you should do this, and you should do that. And sometimes you don't want to do that.
Yeah, sometimes on the other side, it's like, I'm not the best person for that. But if you have a sound like decision or something that makes sense for what I'm doing, and I know I have the capacity. Now, sometimes I don't have the capacity to do it, but if I know I have the capacity to show up and do it, then I will. And I felt like that person who messaged me, it was relevant in the current state that we were in, because we all were home. People were the quarantine 15. You know, you hear about the freshman 15. Literally. You got the quarantine 15, 20, whatever it is for you.
Quarantine 30.
So I felt like her stating that very much made sense for me creating Homebody Volume 2. So I always, and that's another thing, like, I always want to make sure whatever I do deliver, it makes sense for that person. And I'm satisfied knowing that you enjoyed it. I get satisfaction out of that. Not you saying who it was created by, but knowing that you enjoyed it and you saw the results that you desired to have. That's what satisfies me when it comes to creating.
I have a question.
This is good.
Is there anything, I know we talked about like some people support, things like that you might need in your life. Do you feel like there's anything that you need from anyone in your life right now and you haven't communicated it to them that you need it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't. I've become a better communicator in things that I need. And I feel like those who are around or those who I have spoken to about certain needs, they're showing up, and they're only showing up because I'm communicating that. And like they say, like, I don't know what's on your mind. I can't read your mind. So I feel like when you open up and you ask for help, those people will show up, and they will continue to show up because you extended that invite for them to be a part of whatever it is you want to do. So, yeah.
Something about you, it conflicts me because I don't perceive you to have a confidence issue at all. So I'm trying to figure out, like, what is the part that I'm missing? I feel like I'm missing something, because for you to have these fears about jumping out, but you don't seem to lack confidence.
I'm right there with you, girl. I'm trying to figure that thing out. I mean, can I flip the script real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I'm not a DJ, but a mean scratch. What was your experience like taking that leap, or what advice would you give someone who's stuck in the middle, who's, you know, 1 foot in, 1 foot out?
It's so interesting because I think me and you would give different answers.
Probably. Probably.
Because I leap. I think what's helped me a lot, and I don't talk about it as much as I should. I have a great network of people. I have great counsel that have great resources. So a few weeks ago, I was giving a talk to a group of college students, and one of the slides was, if you lost everything today, you know, and you had to make $8,000 in 14 days, or your mother was getting removed from her house, how would you do it? With nothing, no privilege, nothing. If you lost everything today, the first thought on because then she checked me and she was like, well, how would you do it? But no, you can't. And then I was like, well, I'll call this person, and then I'll do this, and then I'm good.
The average person doesn't have that.
And then she was like, yeah, the average person doesn't have who you have.
Right.
I've always found a way to put myself in rooms. I'm gonna just give you a story real quick. So there was this guy, he wanted to go to this $100,000 mastermind so that he could learn from these people, so that he can get in contact with, I believe that it was Grant Cardone. And obviously this man had nowhere near $100,000. And he wanted to be able to start this business for his kid. Strategically, what he did, he knew that the conference was going to be at a hotel. He literally got hired as the water person to serve water at the actual event, just so he could be in the event serving water. That's like me. I will do whatever it takes to get in front of the people that have what I need. So I've always jumped with knowing that if I fail, I can just call on my people. My tribe is different. Like I've always, I don't know, I feel like it's favor, it's God, I don't know what it is, but I've always had support. Like my parents, they've always supported, from financially to resources to credit to all these different things, like everything. So for me, when I'm in a place where I don't know what to do, I communicate with my counsel, like people that are excelling in these fields. Yeah. And then they give me the reassurance, but then they give me their blessing, kind of like their backing. This, we're going to go into this together. So I don't ever feel like I'm having to do anything alone. Yeah. And I don't want to do it alone. I'm really good with delegating things, but I'm also really good with putting myself in rooms and staying in these rooms, and always kind of like, I play double dutch in rooms. Like I'll be in this room with these people, but then I'll also be in this room with these people, because then I'll be in that room with those people. So I kind of, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it does.
Me and Kyle are very different, because Kyle puts a lot of stock in relationships, which I think are important, but I'm not trusting of people.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I don't. Yeah, I'm not that person. I don't have a whole bunch of like high-powered relationships with people. I don't have a lot of friends on purpose. But I have, like Kyle, very supportive family. In my family, they all, like a lot of people in my family are entrepreneurs. So I grew up seeing what that looks like. But I think the biggest thing for me is that faith, like, and the confidence. So like me and Kyle had a conversation about this the other day, and I'm like, well, I feel like I'm not getting the clients that I would want to get, but I don't think that's a reflection of my program not being great. I just feel like God hasn't shown me what it's supposed to look like to bring those people to me. And so I, at no point when I feel like it's a reflection of me. It's a reflection of, oh, well, maybe the time, it's not my time yet, or it's not this, or it's not that. And so like being rooted in faith, I don't move until God tells me what to do.
I got you.
And so once he tells me, I stay doing that thing until he tells me the next thing to do. And it's always like a faith walk. And like, I don't know what it looks like, but I'm just going to stick with whatever he told me to do. He didn't tell me to move yet, so let me just stay doing this thing. And then it's like having faith that like it's going to work out. And we talked about this earlier. Like I don't feel like I've hit my season where it's my season. I don't think I've made it to that place yet. But that's okay. So in the meantime, I'm playing like a supportive role to like Kyle or whoever else, because I've seen him in seasons where he was like, his springtime, and he was like flourishing. Yeah. And I think
it's been a lot of springs, baby.
Yeah, and then sometimes he's like in fall, and it's like,
yeah, there's been a lot of those.
And so for me, that's what it is for me.
I think another thing, and I learned this from Grant Cardone as well, like you got to overcommit and overdeliver. So he, I remember him telling a story where he wanted the, what was it, G63 or a jet, private jet that was $60 million. So he called this guy that is over the jet company, and he was like, I need this jet. And the guy was saying, there's no inventory. And Grant Cardone literally called his assistant, and he said, wire him $60 million. And then he called the guy back that owns the jet company or whatever that works there, and he was like, look, I need you to call your accounting department and check your account. And literally the guy calls him back, and he was like, he calls him back 2 hours later and says, Mr. Cardone, we found your jet. And a lot of times I feel like people, just in my experience and with me as well, I overcommit and then have to figure it out. So like me, the difference between like what you said earlier and then like me, I will like if that lady would have asked if you had a program, I would have been like, yeah, it's $4.90.
That is Kyle.
It's $4.97.
It doesn't even exist.
That's what you want? It's $4.97, baby.
And he gonna be up making that program.
2:00 in the morning. I'm up there doing workout. Straight up, because I'm a deliverer. Like because it puts pressure on me now to deliver it.
I understand that.
And that's in anything. So I feel like I will overcommit. And sometimes I overcommit to too many commitments.
Look, he would have had the link in bio set up.
The website, the funnel up, the whole thing.
100% that is correct.
Facts.
100%.
100%. We got to go on a commercial.
Everybody can't be Kyle.
Right.
No.
Right. We can't just be throwing up programs. As soon as if you ask somebody, go under Kyle's most recent picture and just be like, Kyle, do you have a program
just make up something
for new mothers and entrepreneurship?
Just make it up.
Talking about when that book drop.
Right.
Ask me if I say no. I got what you need. Like, yo, there was on the Biggie movie. I think it was the Biggie movie where he was talking about how everybody wouldn't like take like change from like crackheads, right? And he was the only dope dealer that would actually take quarters and pennies. Mm-hmm. I'm that guy because like all of that little stuff will add up. Like I will have 100 streams of income, even if those streams are only for 2 weeks. Like we will figure it out. Like with the 8K in 14 days challenge, that's what sparked that challenge. So I did that conversation 8K in 14 days. So when she checked me and she was like, well, how would you do it? I was like, I'll show you how I'll do it. 14 days later, who made 8K? Exactly. And then I showed him the blueprint. So it's kind of like it, but I think it's, for me, that's that that competition.
Yeah.
It's like, you say you can do it, show me. Like you got to either show
no
up.
Relationships, and no ads, and no privilege.
Now we did run 2 ads, but we're not going to talk about that though. We're not gonna talk about it. We ran 2 ads, but it's
all good. We made our goal. We hit goal.
So I guess my last question for you: there's a lot of people on here that are gonna really be inspired by your story, and I think just in terms of like your poise, your excellence, your competitive nature, how you're inspiring people to continue to move, and even how you're still walking through your journey towards getting to the point where you're not running from L's, but you're running towards W's and just inspiration. I guess if that person that's listening is struggling, trying to figure it out, kind of in that place where, I don't know, they're not moving, they're stuck. What would be your last words of encouragement to them?
My last words of encouragement that I will honestly say for myself, like when I say this, I'm speaking to myself, is although you may be stuck, it's a temporary phase. And just to keep pressing forward, keep doing the work that you're doing, keep showing up for your personal brand, because eventually it will work in your favor. Like it will show up and you will see the return on investment. Like right now I may be still working in a 9-to-5, but I feel like my return on investment and the late nights of me creating videos and putting things together will eventually show up and work in my favor. So just keep pressing forward. Whatever relationship you have with a higher power, keep that intact. Stay grounded. Keep people around you that that are not just on your level, but at a level or going at a pace where you see yourself. Like you guys, I feel like I have to keep myself around other people that are entrepreneurs and are doing the work, and they're at a different level than I am, because that motivates me to get there. They inspire me to do that. But, like I said, just keep people around you that support you, that love you, that see what you're doing as something that is impactful, but also make sure that you're surrounding yourself with bosses as well. Like you can't want to be a boss and not be around bosses.
No, that's facts. Could you tell people where to find you on social media?
Yes, so you can find Bre at Just Being Fit. It's spelled JUST, letter B, letter N, FIT on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Twitter. And my website, www.justbeingfit.com. Please make sure you have a website, because when Instagram goes down, where will they find you?
No, that's facts. That's facts.
Whole another conversation.
Right. We won't do that.
This was so dope. This was a solid conversation. You guys have heard from the queen of fitness, only that, a beacon of inspiration or fit.
I appreciate that.
So Bre Leach, Around the Way podcast. We'll see you guys next episode.